Alright guys, welcome to vlog number 8. We're going to the poker room right now. Usually I don't do intros because my poker sessions are very set. Like, it's like a job. I play Monday to Friday, and I film always on Friday. So if I make intros, it'd always be the same. You know, welcome to Jamul, play 2-5, and that's about it. So yeah, I decided to do an intro on this one just to say that. Why usually it'll just always jump directly into a session unless, you know, something changes. We go to a different location or some event, something like that. But apart from that, we'll always jump directly into the hands. So let's get right into it. 2-5 is full, so we're gonna have to play some 1-3 until somebody leaves, but don't worry, it's a very action table with straddles going on. So let's jump right into the first hand. First hand in, we're in the undergun straddle with 2-3 suited. The cutoff makes it 15. He's one of the dealers in this casino. First time playing with him, but I'm expecting he's on the aggressive side. And for that price, when it folds to me, I call. So heads up to a flop. Flop comes ace, 10, 8. So backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. Not the worst, but definitely not the best flop for us. I check, and when he bets $20, yeah, I mean, even with the backdoors, I don't think we're getting the price. So I fold, and he flips over 7 deuce. So, all right, game on. Table looking good. Let's move on to the next hand. Now we look down at a real hand, pocket kings and undergun 1. The straddle's going on, so I make it 20. And we get the low jack, hijack, cutoff, and under the gun to call. So, yay, 5 ways to a flop. Flops jack 9, 6, so not the worst since there's not that many combos of 2 pairs. Definitely jack 9. I don't know about 9, 6 or jack 6. So altogether, not the worst, and it's very draw heavy. So I'm gonna bet I make it $55, and only the low jack calls. So heads up to a turn. Turn is not the best. It's a 10, so straights get there. 7, 8 gets there. Now there's more 2 pairs. Jack 10. I don't know if he's calling with 10, 9 since he was next to act. So he must be pretty strong, having another 3 people left to talk after him. But yeah, so definitely a bad card. I decide to check since I feel like this card is way better for him. And he goes all in for $102, and definitely not liking his spot. I feel like I'm behind. But at least we have a flush draw and a gut shot to the straight ourselves. So with that, it's a pretty easy call. And when I call, he says he has a straight draw. So that was definitely surprising. Let's see the river. River is a 4, and he flips over queen jack. So he had top pair. Interesting that he said he had a straight draw. I guess he supposed he was behind when I called. So not sure what he was doing there. Was he turning his hand into a bluff with a top pair? No clue, but happy to take it down. Let's move on. Now we're in a small blind with king jack off. There's a button straddle. Under the gun 2 limps. He's the dealer that beat me with 7 deuce. So let's call him Mr. 7 deuce from now on. So he limps, it folds to us. I make it $35 and get the button and Mr. 7 deuce to call. So 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10, 4, 4. So we don't hit, but not the worst. It's very dry, so it's very likely they missed as well. And we've got all the overpairs here, and we could have ace 4 suited as well. So I feel like we have the strongest hands. So I'm going to stab at it. I make it $35, feeling that this could get through a lot, but it doesn't since they both call. So I'm done with this. We go 3 ways to a turn. Turn is a 7, and yeah, after getting 2 callers, I feel like it's suicide trying to bluff here. I check. Mr. 7 deuce goes all in for 55. The button calls, so yeah, I'm just folding. That's what I do. Let's see what happens. Button is asking for a heart, but it doesn't come. It's a jack of diamonds, and Mr. 7 deuce shows 3, 4 suited for flop trips. Button mucks, and he takes it down once again. Let's go back to premiums with pocket kings once again in the hijack. Low jack makes it 10. I 3-bet to 35 and get the cutoff and low jack to call. So 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 6, 7, 7, and low jack checks. I decided paw control. I think they have a lot more 7s than me. So I check, and cutoff checks as well. So 3 ways to the turn. Turn is interesting. It's another 6. Now the low jack checks, and I think my kings are usually good here. I think the cutoff will always bet his 7s and his 6s a good amount of time, and so will the low jack on the turn. So I want to start getting some value. I bet $35. Cutoff folds, but low jack does call. So heads up to a river. River's not the best. It's a 10. So now 8, 9 gets there. But when he checks to me, I think he's been calling me pretty light. I think he perfectly fine could have an ace high thinking it's good, or a weak pocket pair. So I'm going to go thin for value, but I want him to call me with a weak hand, so I can't bet too big. I make it 55, just ready to fold if he raises, but that doesn't happen. He goes in the tank a little while and just kind of shrugs and calls. I show, we're good, we take it down. As you can see, we're running super good in 1-3, up $248 in a little over 20 minutes. Let's keep it going. For our last hand in 1-3, we have Jack 10 suited in the button. Low Jack makes it 6. Hijack calls, and that bet is tiny. I don't want to call and get both blinds a call and go 5 ways to a flop. So I 3-bet to 25. Small blind calls. Low jack does end up folding, but hijack does call. So 3 ways to a flop. Flop is pretty good. It's 3, 10, 9. So top pair, jack kicker. When it checks to us, I see bet for $35 and they both call. Turn's not the best. It's an ace. So when it checks to us, if I bet here, I think I'm only going to be called by better since we have one of the worst possible top pairs. Even 10-9 is 2 pair. So yeah, I decided to check. Let's see the river. River's a deuce. And when it checks to us, I just felt like it was too thin. Again, I think if I bet, only better hands are going to be calling. So I do check, and good thing I do because small blind has ace king for top, and he takes it down. And with that, we hear our name for the 2-5, so we rack up and head over there, hoping that we could keep this good run going in the bigger stakes. Things are looking promising since about an orbit after we sit down to 2-5, we got pocket queens in the hijack. 101 limps, I make it 20, and only the limper calls, so heads up to a flop. Flop is unreal. Queen 6, so we flop quads with the ladies, damn. Now I'm just figuring out how the hell am I going to get value out of this since he probably has nothing. So when he checks, since I always bet here, I should bet here as well. But I decided to check. Hopefully some ace king or some card that he hits comes up on the turn and we can get value. So that's what I do. Let's see the turn. Turn is not what we were hoping for. It's a 5. So yeah, when he checks, now we got to try to get some value. I bet $15 and he pretty quickly folds. So yeah, always nice to get quads, but not getting much out of it. But at least we got a thumbnail for this video. What's better than pocket queens? Pocket aces in the cutoff. I make it 15 and only the big blind calls. But just like the previous hand, we don't get much action when the flop comes queen high. I see bet for 20 and he pretty quickly folds. On to the next, we got ace jack off in under than 2. I make it 15 and once again, only the big blind calls. So heads up to a flop. Flop comes deuce 9, 10. So you don't hit, but we got the backdoor nut flush draw and a backdoor straight draw and 2 overcards. So with a lot of good turn cards, I'm going to see bet here. I make it 20 and he calls. Turn is pretty good. It's a king. So now we have a gut shot and a great card to be barreling on since all his middle pairs, bottom pairs are going to fold. Maybe even some weak 10s. So when he checks to us, I'm going to keep on putting the pressure. I bet $40 and once again he calls. River's not the best. It's another king. And I'm usually not a big fan of barreling as a bluff when the board pairs. If he's calling the turn with a 10, he should call a river as well since it's less likely I have a king myself and there's a lot of misdraws. So yeah, I check hoping that he has a misdraw himself. And that is the case since he said that he missed and flips over jack 8 of diamonds for a missed straight draw. And our ace is good and we take it down. Next orbit, we got ace 9 off in the cutoff. 102 limps, so I make it 20 and get the button and limper to call. So 3 ways to a flop. Flop is above average, ace 6, 9, so top 2. Now I'm just hoping one of them has an ace with a good kicker to get 3 streets of value from. It checks to us, I see bet for $35 and sadly, they both fold. So yeah, getting pretty good hands in this session, 2-5, but sadly not getting much action. Let's move on to the next. We switch seats to get a better view of the table and we look down at king 9 suited in the hijack. I make it 15 and get the button, small blind and big blind to call. So 4 ways to a flop. Once again, we flop top 2 on a king 9 4 board. The blinds check and I'm just hoping we could get some extra value this time. I bet $30 and get the good news when the button does call. Blinds fold, so heads up to a turn. Turn is pretty bad. It's an ace. That's a scare card. We bet 4 ways on the flop and going to be barreling on the turn. Maybe now some weaker kings are going to fold. But there's still a lot of draws that are going to call. So we bet 75, but doesn't seem like he had any of those since he pretty quickly folds and we take it down. Now we're undergun with pocket 10s. I make it 15. Under than 2 3-bets us to 50. That looks pretty strong since we're both early position, but we're pretty deep. So even set mining is profitable here. Planning on calling until the button call 4-bets to 150. So yeah, pocket 10s are very pretty, but I think this is just always a fold. Calling seems like a bad idea. 5 betting is overplaying pocket 10s, definitely. So yeah, we find a fold and under than 2 folds as well. Now we're in a hijack with king jack suited. I make it 15. It folds to the small blind and he 3-bets at 65. He's one of the better regs in these games and I'm pretty sure he just has a full 3-bet strategy from the small blind, so he could be pretty wide. I think my king jack is definitely doing decent against his range and win position, so I call. Let's see a flop. Flop, once again, is amazing. King 6-3, so top pair, jack kicker, flush draw. He c-bets for $45 and in his spot, pretty happy just to call since he could have a lot of better kings. So that's what we do. Let's see a turn. Turn is at 8, and now he checks, and I decided to check as well for a couple of reasons. One is that this player likes to check raise, so maybe he's trapping. And another reason is we don't have the strongest hand, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get value on a turn and river for worse. So I decided to check here with the plans on getting value on the river, since there's not that many bad river cards apart from the 3 aces. That is not the diamond, since that one gives us the nuts. So maybe if I check, he's going to bluff the river, or if not, we're going to get value from maybe pocket pairs below the king, or a king with a weak kicker. So yeah, that's what we do. Let's see the river. River's pretty good. It's another king. So we have trip kings with a jack kicker. And now he overbets $310 that I was pretty surprised about. I didn't know if I should raise here, since raising is going all in. With the jack kicker, I did not know if anything worse was going to call. Since I did think there was some chance he was trapping on the turn, planning on check raising. So yeah, at the end of the day, I just didn't think if I went all in, worst hands were going to call me. So I do just go for the call, and he flips over king 9 suited for trips with worst kicker. So yeah, definitely interesting spot. I wonder if he would have called if I went all in on the river, but we'll never know. Happy to take down this pot. Once again, we're the hijack with queen 8 suited. I make it 30 since there's a straddle going on. It's 2, 5, 10, and only the small blind calls. So heads up to a flop. Flop comes ace, ace 9. So we got a backdoor flush draw and a backdoor straight draw. So when it checks to us, we got a decent amount of turn cards that we could be barreling bluffing on. And we have a lot more aces than he does, even though he is on a small blind. So he does have a tighter range than if he was in a big blind. But yeah, I do bet. I make it 20. And he basically min raises us to 45. That is definitely weird. I don't see these small raises that often, but usually it's just super nutted since they want to build a pot but don't get folds. So yeah, I mean, I didn't want to fold in position for such a good price. But yeah, with only backdoors going on, I just fold and we move on to the next. While editing, I realized as he lifts his cards, he flashes a king, so bluff or not, we were behind. Next hand, there's a straddle going on, so it's 2, 5, 10. When we're in a small blind and we look down at pocket 8s. Underdone 1 makes it $40. That's 4x to straddle. It folds to us. And yeah, I feel usually correct poker, you should only 3-bet or fold from a small blind. But I'm not folding pocket 8s. And 3-betting here, I'd have to make it 4x. That's 160. And yeah, playing over a $300 pot. That's a third of my stack against an early position raiser. I decide just to call, and the big blind and straddler calls. So 4 ways to a flop. Flop is beautiful. 8, 3, 5. So we flop top set. It checks the underdone 1, and he c-bets for $100. And on sets a draw heavy board, I'm not calling. I check raise him to $300. It folds back to him. He goes into the tank, and sadly he folds. So we take it down. Now we get downgraded to pocket 4s in the hijack. There's a straddle going on, so I make it 30. And now the button, same villain as before. 3-bets us to 80. It folds back to us, and he's giving us a good price since it's less than 3x. And we're deep enough to make it profitable. I call, let's see a flop. Flop is 3, 5, ace, so not great that the ace is there, but we have a gut shot, so not the worst either. I check to him, and he c-bets for $75. And yeah, if I didn't have the gut shot, I'll just fold here. I don't know what this guy's 3-bet range is pre-flop, but he hasn't been doing it that often. He's been mostly calling, so I feel it's strong. But with a gut shot and for that price, I'm not going anywhere. I call. Let's see a turn. Turn is another 5, and I'm planning on just folding here since if he bets again, ace is all over his 3-bet range, and I'm not a big fan of calling big bets with 6 outs, but we could take good news when he checks back. River's beautiful. It's a deuce, so we hit our straight in a spot that we shouldn't have too many, maybe ace 4 suited, but apart from that, it's just pocket 4s. So I'm going to bet big here since, again, I shouldn't have too many straights here, and maybe if he is pot controlling with an ace, or maybe he here calls with some pocket pairs, kings and queens, since, again, I shouldn't have too many 4s here. So I make it $250, and he just shrugs. Seems as if, like, I got to call, and he does. I show, and he flips over ace king off. So I'm pretty surprised that he checked back the turn. That was great for us since he gave us a free river and gave us a chance to hit our straight, and we take it down. For the last hand of the session, let's end it good with pocket queens and under the gun 1. Under the gun limps, so I raise to $20 and only she calls. So heads up to a flop. Let's see if we could flop cards once again to end the session. Sadly, we don't. It just comes 8 queen jack. So yeah, we flop top set. It's okay, but yeah, it's not quads. She texts to us and there's draws. We're blocking top pair, but let's try to get some value. I make it $20 and get the good news when she calls. Turn is worst card in the deck. It's a 9, so now any 10 has a straight. So when she checks to us, I don't see the value in betting here. We're blocking top pair, and again, any 10 has a straight. So I think all the worst hands are going to fold and better's calling. So I check back. Please, dealer, pair the board. Sadly, he doesn't. River is a 7, and now she bets $50. And I go into the tank. I just can't find the bluffs. And is worse really betting here for value? I have a queen myself, and I really don't think anything's really betting here for value except for a 10. But she's a pretty aggressive player. So after going into the tank for a while, and I think not the best thought, but I felt like, am I really going to fold pocket queens? It's top set, but that doesn't make really a difference. I think ace queen or pocket queens here is the same thing. Both of them are beating her bluffs and losing against her value. But yeah, at the moment, I do put in the call. And get the good news was he flips over king jack off. So she had second pair, and she's a pretty good player. So I do think she turned it into a bluff, trying to get my queens to fold. And we take it down for our last hand, and let's rack up and see how we did. All right, really good session. Nice to book a win while filming. Because I think the last 2 I uploaded, I was losing. But yeah, running pretty good. I think it was up every day this week. So that's very nice to get the month going. And yeah, pretty good. I did great playing 1-3. Like, ran super well for the short time I was doing it. But yeah, let's head home because I'm not sure how much I'm up. I think it's over 1,000. But yeah, let's just head home, jump to there, and see how we did. And we are home. Pretty great session, very interesting. We ended up 11.25 and about 250 of that from 1-3. So the rest of 2.5, I'll do the math here. I won't try to calculate that now. I'm tired. It's 1 a.m. But yeah, really good. 1-3 was so much fun. Usually the 1-3s aren't that great. Like, it was straddling almost every hand and just getting a bunch of hands for like less than an hour, I think, that I was playing. And a 2-5 at the beginning was kind of slow. In a weird way, I was just killing the flop. Like, I flopped quads. So how am I going to get action from that? And then top 2. And yeah, but it's not getting paid. So it's just very small pots. And then I went card dead for like an hour. But it picked up. And yeah, we booked a very good win, over $200 an hour. Not going to complain. That's awesome. And really good too, because the last 2 vlogs I posted, there were losing sessions, so at least I didn't have to post 3 losing sessions in a row, because we've been running pretty good lately. Just, you know, I film like 1 day a week. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. So yeah, happy that this one is a win. And if you guys could help me out and subscribe, I'm trying to build this, you know, I'm trying to monetize. So if you guys subscribe, it helps out a lot. Like, leave a comment. I'm always happy to talk about hands. You know, if you agree, disagree, if you would play differently, let me know, and I'll see you guys next week.